Oh, we're live on YouTube.
Yeah, it's almost, we're preparing. Let me just get back here. All right, you are good to go.
Okay. So welcome all to the February 3rd meeting of the Dudley Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners meeting. This is our regular monthly meeting. To start it off, I have to read this. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, this meeting of the Dudley Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners will be conducted in total via remote participation. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website at dudleyma.gov. If you would like to attend this meeting, please contact Jennifer Canoyer at 508-949-8007 or watersewer@dudleyma.gov or sewerwater@dudleyma.gov. This meeting, members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so in the following manner: via YouTube Live, or by posting a link at the posted link at www.dudleyma.gov. I think I got that. It still says Facebook Live on the agenda, but I know we're on YouTube now. So we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you have a flag present, great. If you don't, there's one right behind me on the wall. There we go. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. You stopping? Was it? I don't know. I think so. Okay, we have two sets of minutes to accept. The first from January 6th, 2021. That was our last monthly meeting. Has everyone had a chance to read them?
Yes.
I move we accept the minutes.
Okay, motion's been made to accept the minutes of January
Bob
6th.
Sullivan, second.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. Just so everybody's aware, we have to do all of our votes by roll call. And as past practice, the maker of the motion will be the first vote. The seconder of the motion will be the second vote. And then we'll follow through with the rest of the folks on the board, and I'll be the last.
Bill
the roll
Conley,
Okay,
Bob Sullivan, aye.
okay, and Scott Sikowski, aye. That's unanimous. The other two members of the board are both tied up at work and will be in as soon as they can. Okay, we've got the meeting minutes for January 21st. This was the meeting where we had Mary Jude Pigsley and Jeff Faulkner in to talk about the situation at Station 3.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of January 21st as written.
Bill Conley, second the motion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Bob Sullivan, aye.
Bill Conley, aye.
And Scott Sikowski, aye. So that's 3-0. 71 Mason Road. Oh, actually, we've got folks. There's nobody coming in for that part of the meeting, correct?
Correct. It's just our revision.
Okay, so why don't we take care of the other folks first?
Yeah.
That way we can let them. They can certainly stay and watch the meeting, but they can leave after that. Manzoni Drive, Doug LaBelle, permission to tie into water and sewer. Is Doug LaBelle here?
He is on.
Okay.
Doug, can you hear us?
Okay, I see his square.
Is he muted?
No, yeah, I see other people that are, but he's got no video, so it's hard to know what's going on there. All right, we'll go back to him in a minute then, if we can make contact with him. 36 Pine Street. Scott Hemming, permission to tie into water. Is that person here?
No, he's not. I do not see him.
Okay. All right. 5 Brandon Road, permission to tie into sewer.
I am here.
Oh, awesome. Great. So we do have some connection with somebody.
There you go.
Okay, please identify yourself for the record.
Certainly. My name is Dan Aguirre. I'm a senior project manager at SciTech Engineering, Civil and Environmental Consultants down in the south coast of the state of Massachusetts. Here this evening on behalf of the real estate at 5 Brandon Road, owned by Mr. Glenn Benavides. I'm sure you all know the history of this property better than I do, as I've only been brought into this over the last week or two, because I've done some work for Mr. Benavides at the school that he works at down in this area, as well as I do quite a bit of work for his attorney as well. So I was brought into this, like I said, a week or two ago. I had an initial discussion with Terry from the Board of Health about trying to put together a septic design for this real estate. As you know, the existing cesspool is located on an adjacent parcel. So my charge in this whole thing is just to try to get him tied into something. The rest of the situation will have to work its way out. I'm not concerned with that stuff. So when I had initially looked at it, believe it or not, I've done one job in the town of Dudley in the last 26 years, and it was for Ethan Allen, just around the corner on Chase. So when I looked up the address on the GIS website, I said I've been there before. So I had some survey work already done in the area, and I have not been to the site through Google Earth and Street View and my records of what I could find at the Registry of Deeds and the history of being there before. I thought that it would be in the best interest of the applicant as well as the town and the environment if we could get Mr. Benavides tied into the municipal sewer in some form or fashion. I spoke with, I believe, George at the end of last week and had a preliminary discussion about that. And what my proposal to him was at the time that in some form or fashion, the most economically viable for the client was to run some type of sewer extension up Brandon Road from the existing manhole. And actually there's quite a few manholes at that intersection of Chase, but the existing line that ran down Chase. And my initial proposal to you, as you see on the schematic drawing that I've given you, again, this is just a schematic drawing. The proposal would be to run a low pressure force main up Chase and then connect into the rear yard, I believe is where the plumbing exits the building, and then install an environment and one pump and be able to get him tied into sewers as quickly as possible without having to open the street during the winter months and go through the expense of running an actual gravity main and a manhole up Chase. So that is my initial presentation to you and how I first see, the quickest and easiest way to get this resolved. I do have to get out there and do some real survey, existing conditions, topography, and utilities, and things of the like. But George asked me to at least throw something together to get on the board to start a discussion with all of you about how you would like to resolve this matter.
So you're talking about originally putting in a above ground line?
No, a low pressure force main below grade in the shoulder.
Okay.
I don't know if you've dealt a lot with like Environment One
Yep.
low-pressure pumps.
Yep.
So if you look at the plan, we would propose to install a pump in the backyard, tie into the existing sewer line, and then run the low-pressure force main 1.5-inch line in the shoulder on our side of the road, and then tie into that manhole at the intersection
Yeah, there's a
of.
grassy shoulder there that he wants to.
Okay,
Excuse me?
Scott,
And I know that there is a drainage swale along that side of the road, and the Environment One pump and the low-pressure main would allow us not to have to navigate that crossing or any other utility crossings and not have to open the road. And because of the severity and how quickly we need to get this done, that seemed like the quickest and easiest way to get him tied into sewer. The Board of Health is being, I don't want to say badgered, but they're being pushed along by DEP to get him tied into some type of sewer because, again, his existing cesspool turned out to be on an abutting property where he had thought he has been being charged sewer fees all of this time, because my understanding is that everybody thought this house was tied into sewer. But again, that's a separate issue from just trying to resolve how to get him tied in as quickly as possible.
okay. My home computer just finally gave in after 10 good years.
If you give me
open up that plan, but so I'm gonna have to depend on George and I guess Bob. I don't know if you've seen the plan yet.
If you-
I have.
if you give me sharing capability, I can pull the plan up and you can see it, whoever the administrator is.
Ken, can you do that?
Scott,
Yeah.
Whoever
go
the
ahead.
host.
yeah, Mike Kraychik's here with me because we had a number of sewer issues here. He'll go through it real quick. We like pretty much the plan. There's one little change we're going to make mention of, nothing major, and I'll let Mike take it right here so you get an idea.
Okay,
Scott,
go ahead.
he can exit his house, go down that shoulder in between the drainage seal. I don't want him tying into the manhole because it's an old brick manhole. I'd rather have him tie into the pipe just in front of the manhole. It'd be a better fit. Just saddle it in, and that's the end of
Okay.
it. Because it's an old brick manhole. I don't want him drilling and, because you never patch the thing up right.
Oh, he's
It's,
breaking the brick.
it just ain't good, okay? So the plan is good up to, I don't want him going into the manhole. I want him going into the line itself on Chase Ave. Pure and simple,
Okay.
Sure, that's fine.
all right?
That would be great. And if you could have, is it Jen Cornoyer?
Yes.
Whoever the staff is, if you can just have her give whoever I should be dealing with regards to issues like this, like all the little details, because I will prepare, a formal sewer plan with elevations and grades and, what the lateral looks like, the stainless steel lateral that these things tie into. But if I could just have someone that I could speak to iron out those details and submit a formal plan to you for approval.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I meet you on site and I can tell you exactly what I want? Is that what you want?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's fine. It's up to the board to give you the okay to tie in, but I'll go over the.
Yeah, this was just to come up with make sure you were buying into the conceptual of being in the shoulder, being a force main.
I don't see a problem with it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay,
Just to let you know, I'm here.
who's I?
Doug LaBelle, sorry.
Okay, awesome.
I was
Great.
having a technical difficulty a minute ago.
Okay, no problem. Gotta love this. I love technology. The more we depend on it, the more. In any case, okay, Bob or Bill, do you have any questions or concerns?
Bob Sullivan. I'll just bring up the obvious one that we keep bringing up at some of these meetings in regards to the sewer. Who's going to own the force main going down the shoulder?
Well, there's
The
two different. Oh, sorry.
No, the homeowner does.
Yeah, and in normal circumstances, the board would determine that it's a private line. The only issue with that, and it's to your benefit, for instance, if there was a neighbor across the street that also wanted to tie into it, you could, if it was your line, you would have the ability to allow them to tie into it.
That's correct, but nobody,
Or in your approval, you could state or condition the approval that, you know, if an abutting property owner needed to tie into the line, that they could.
And, I mean, that's in a, it would either be on public property or on the adjacent property, correct?
Well, this line that we are proposing would run in the shoulder. It would be within the layout of Brandon Road.
So it'll be on public property.
That's correct. Because we do not own the adjacent lot.
That's right, you don't.
That's between us and Chase.
So
So we would-
that's the lot that the septic is currently, or the cesspool is currently on, correct?
That is correct.
Were these two properties owned by the same person at one time?
From what I
Yes,
can
they were.
find,
They were.
they were.
I do have a subdivision plan that was created, you know, that created these separate lots. And again, I've been brought into this just to resolve the getting him tied into it. But from my understanding, at some point in time, they were owned by a singular landowner, and that when it was conveyed to Mr. Benavides, when this house was built, everything, all of the paperwork showed that he was actually tied into sewer, and that he's actually been paying sewer fees. Again, this is my understanding, since he's purchased the home.
Yes, yes.
So this was a surprise to everyone, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I find it hard to believe that the former owner didn't know that he had a cesspool there, but is there any chance that he can get an easement through the back property and just run a gravity line down?
Nope.
We've tried that already, and the abutter on that parcel has basically attempted to extort my client, I guess, for a ridiculously large sum of money for such an easement.
I was gonna say, because if he ran the easement right along a property line where there's setbacks, so he couldn't build anything, there's
Mhm.
no nuisance to him, no
Well,
detriment to his property.
well, it is. I mean, it could theoretically be cutting through the middle of his property. There is no home on that corner, I guess. Once I do get the survey work completed, if we can run a gravity line in the shoulder, we can go that gravity route as well. We're just trying not to cut up Brandon Road, and it would be a quicker and easier fix to do it in the shoulder the way that we provided it.
Yeah, I just know one of the commissioners that's not on this call at this time because he's working. He's pretty adamant about the policy that it comes out of the property straight into a main.
Well, theoretically, this force main that we're putting in Brandon is technically a main. It's a low pressure force main.
Right, it's a force main, but it's a privately owned, and I'm not sure all the logistics on a private homeowner having ownership of a pipe in a public way.
Well, again, it doesn't have to be a private line. That's what I had previously suggested, that it could be either way, that the line that is installed in Brandon could be considered a public utility.
Right, so I just want the board to be aware, and that would be what I would assume is it would end up being owned by the town, but that's something that the town would end up owning and maintaining. And if they were going to try to correct any of the other issues in that area where sewer lines are going through backyards of everyone, I think
It's a lateral.
what's allowed?
Yeah.
Bob,
Yep.
it's a lateral. It ain't a main, it's a lateral to one house. The houses on that street have all gravity sewer, and they run out the backyards into Daniel Street, down to Chase Ave. So there ain't nobody gonna be building houses there looking for a main to tie into. He's the only one that's gonna be on it. He's gonna have a low gravity pressure main, just like all these other places that we put pumps in. just like Nichols College up on the corner of Dudley Hill. They run across the road into our manhole, and that's the way it's been for years. I mean, if you don't think it's right, then we shouldn't be doing it, but I think this is the easiest fix for him. The owner of the property of the lot won't let him go through or give him an easement for it. So basically, he has no other choice.
Yeah, I
Well, the only-
understand that. I'm just saying it needs to be clarified so that people understand who owns that force main coming in the public way.
Well, Center Road, there's 4 houses. The lateral goes up the sidewalk. And
Center Road, we're down.
correct, they're responsible for it.
The homeowners are?
That's correct. If a lateral if your lateral goes, the only thing the town is responsible for is the main and a pump station. If your lateral goes into our main, you're responsible from your house up to the lateral, and if it's got a TY in the main, you're responsible for that. That's our rules and regulations. So it wouldn't be no different.
Okay,
But that would prevent anybody else from tying into that.
that's correct. But like Bob said, or like they had said, all the mains for all those houses that are on that road already run out through the back and run down to Chase Ave, on Daniel Street, which runs parallel to Brandon Road.
I don't see any other lots there that could be developed to tie in, so I don't.
No, there's none.
There will never be any more development in that area, unless Horton. Well, if Horton Furniture was taken down and houses were built, that would go on to Schofield.
Yeah,
Ave.
that'd be gravity right to Schofield.
Yeah, that would go to Schofield. Yeah, so yeah, no, there's really no other development in that area.
Yeah, so I don't have an issue as long as the current town rules allow a private owner to own a pipe in a public way. That's all.
I guess we'll have to find out about that.
And whatever documents we needed to prepare, like an affidavit of the owner accepting responsibility and ownership of the main with the understanding that he is responsible for that line, that would not be a problem.
Okay.
There's lateral.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a lateral, but it's just not straight into the main. It's got a little zigzag in it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, we're not going to get hung up on a word. It's a low pressure force main that is basically a lateral to one house. That's understood. So I mean, this is one of those situations that it's something that needs to get done one way or another. So this is basically the start of that process, I guess.
Yes. And I can have a formal design to you. When is your next meeting?
It's the first Wednesday of every month.
Okay, yeah, easily by next month. What I hope to do is have a contractor lined up, and I'll get a list of contractors from the office of who's bonded and who you like to work with in the town, and hopefully I'll have that lined up and a final plan submitted to you well in advance of your meeting so that you do have time to review that. And hopefully at that meeting you could give us the okay, and we can get the Board of Health and DEP off of everyone's back on this.
Sure.
We will try.
That's good.
Okay, so at this point, there's really no action needed. Just stay in touch with George and Mike, and they will and we'll look forward to seeing. We'll wait anxiously for those plans.
Great. And I'll contact Jen tomorrow to find out what the gentleman's name was that I could probably meet out at the site when we come out to do the survey, just to have a discussion about how to logistically handle a couple of the items.
Okay,
That'd be great. Thank you all very much for your time.
thank
Have a
you,
good
Mr.
night.
Thank you.
Okay, I heard Mr. LaBelle was maneuvered his way through Zoom.
Told me we met with him on progress.
So,
Whole different ballgame over there. Tell 'em.
LaBelle, Menzoni Drive.
Yes.
Okay. And
He bought two. There's only one when I talked to him.
all right. Okay, I see we got Jay. Good. So, Mr. LaBelle, you want to tie in water on Menzoni Drive. What address number? What's the house number?
Okay, it is lot number 124-2.
Okay,
I submitted a plan showing where the house would lie inside of it. Staying inside the boundaries. The lot has 100 feet of frontage on Mazzoni Drive, and then it abuts the other lots that are on progress.
okay. So as you go, okay, as you go down to Ellis, turn on to Menzoni
Yep.
on the right side of the road or the left? I don't have,
Tanya,
As you're turning on the Mazzoni, it's right there on your right. I have it all staked out also. I have it all surveyed.
okay. I'm just trying to get it in my mind. Like I said, I couldn't pull up much of anything or print anything this week, so.
I
had
gave
some-
Jen a couple of plans showing each of the lots with the houses, the setbacks and the pins where it's all surveyed. So I had my surveyor confirm what size lots they are and whatnot.
Okay, George, any issues there?
George, unmute yourself.
How's that? Can you hear me?
There we go. Okay,
Okay, that was a surprise to me. I don't know why you did that. I met with Mr. LaBelle at Progress Ave for one lot he's got over there, which had no issues. We have a water main that goes right in front of his property, so he can tie in there with no issues there. Menzoni Drive, Mike and I have to take a better look at that. We didn't really get a chance to look over there because there's some possibilities there that we haven't explored yet. So if you want to give him permission to do the initial permit to tie in upon review of the plan there, because I don't really have a definitive plan on Menzoni yet. There's no water main on Menzoni Drive. The water main is on Ellis and Prospect. So we'd have to see what the best way to go there, and I have to take a good look at that. And right now with the snow, we can't really get a good look at that. So I'm good with his Progress Ave site, but Menzoni needs a little more refinement work from us to look at. Just to see what the best way to go over there. And we'd have to meet with him over there and take a look at that.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
does that work for you, Mr. LaBelle?
Yes, that's fine with me. Yep. I met with George and I think, who else did I meet with over there? I think it was,
Okay, so is there a
Mike.
sewer main already on Menzoni?
yes,
No.
there's a main that comes up through sewer main is on my property. It comes
No,
through
there's
it.
an easement. There's an easement there.
There's an easement there, Scott, from over there at that setup there. But that's probably where we end up putting sewer right through that main there. That's one of the mains that we get off of West Main Street that goes through the back there. They know where that is. And that heads down towards Fairview in that area.
Okay,
So you could, I'm all clear and set with the Progress Ave situation. I know exactly where he's going to put his house there. There is a main going in there. I do know there will be future sites there for houses. At that point, they will extend the main from there outward. But as far as where he is, that's fine with me. He's right off our main. There's another house even further past where he's going to go. So we're good there. And like I said, I'll meet with him when the weather clears up a little bit. We can go and mark out some things. Me and Mike could go out and check the sewer and the water site where the best way to tie in there is on Menzoni, on Ellis or that area there.
Okay, so it is doable.
Question. Is that their line, is that their private line, or does the town? Okay, so they gave the line to the town. Okay, all right.
Okay, that's so these will be, in these mains are all in the road or in an actual right of way.
And, I mean, that would go there.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, what do we need to do tonight then? Do we need, permission to tie in then, correct?
You could give him permission to tie in on Progress Ave for that lot. I don't know what number it is.
Well, we're talking about Menzoni Drive.
Oh, Manzoni, you can give him a permit that we will give him permission, providing he complies with how we set up the tie-in over there. And it'll bring it back to the board when we get a definitive idea of what we're doing there, and the board can do a quick approval on that.
Okay, so it's contingent on,
Yes, just a quick, contingent upon what we find, what we recommend, and then we'll get it back to the board quick and let them take a quick look at it and prove it. That'll be all set.
anybody have any questions for Mr. LaBelle? Any other board members?
Okay, so they ran an 8-inch line out.
Okay, do we have any, do we have a motion?
Okay, that's all I gotta know.
Uttering a motion for sewer.
Thanks, Paul. Okay.
So, because of this house over there, so they ran an 8-inch line out.
Okay, is anybody there?
I'm here. I'm
Okay,
here, but
I'm here.
all right, we need a
I guess
motion.
we're gonna talk about one more lot, the one that's on progress that George was referring to, lot number 124, which would be number 19 on progress.
Is that, have we talked about that one before?
George was just referring to it. It abuts the other lot that I have on my zone. There's 3 lots here in total. I'm only talking about 2 of them. 124 is on progress. It'd be the next house down from where the houses stop on the left-hand side driving in. And
And-
everything's right in front of the lot. George and I and Mike have met there
already-
both times.
Did we already, have we already dealt with 124?
Well, I'm not sure. George was just referring to it, so I guess we're talking about 2 lots, Mazzone and Progress. So, and that's what I'm here for tonight, to talk about both of those lots. And I understand we need to look at Mazzone a little closer. Progress has water and sewer right in front of it. Me and Mike and George have looked at it and came up with an easy plan to connect to it.
Okay, so. All right, that 124 wasn't on the agenda. Can we take that all up as one together?
I submitted the things that I needed for 124, including a plan showing where it is. So I don't know if you don't have it.
When did you submit that?
At the same time, I submitted Mazzone last week or the week before.
Okay, so this is all new. Okay, I mean, there is no address on the agenda item, so there
Okay.
are two. There are
Mr.
2 houses. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, they both were submitted at the same time, and it was referenced as just Menzoni Drive, that's why. But
Okay.
they are 2 separate applications submitted.
Okay, so I guess we need a motion for tying in for water and a motion for tying into sewer for 124 and 124-2 Menzoni.
So are there mains going by these properties now?
There's a main going by 124. 124-2 would be an extension, I guess. Sewer, there's sewer right of way that goes by 124-2. For that sewer main that runs out to, Fairfield. It'd be nice if we could see these, plans, but I can't see them, so I have to depend on others.
Yeah, that was my thing. I can't see. I don't see the plan, so.
Hey, Scott.
Yep.
Yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have plans for both of them. Give them permission for initial tie-in upon approval of both. We'll bring both of them in, and you board can take a quick look at it, both of them. That'll give me a chance to go over the men's zoning with them, and progress will already be straightforward. He'll have the plan for that, so you guys can review both of them.
We don't have any, concerns with the availability of water over there.
No, we don't.
And the sewer mains are already out there anyways, so.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess, motion contingent on, review of plans.
You know, these are the properties that go at the very end of progress that kind of almost make it over to Eagle.
No, Bob, they're closer in. Where he's going with his first house, the one we're talking about is the house actually on the opposite side, and it's before the last existing house. So he's further in. There might be future development from somebody else or himself. I don't know, further on in the year, but that's something different. This is just his house is in much further.
So it's closer to Main Street?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Ellis goes down and takes a left on Manzoni at the bottom of the hill. As I'm understanding it, it's that property right there.
Yeah, it's like the property in between Manzoni and Prospect.
No, it's on
Not
progress.
No, this one we're
Progress.
talking about is on progress. The one you're talking about is on Manzoni, which we have to look at more closely because the main's further up.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
they're referenced as 2 Menzoni and 19 Progress. Just so you
19's
keep it
okay.
straight.
19's right. 19's okay.
That's Bob. We're talking about 19 Progress. That's the one that's fine. The other one in Manzoni is something we're going to look at more closely because I hadn't had a really chance to go out there and take a good look at that. The main goes in from Prospect to Ellis. There's nothing that runs down Manzoni on that side. So that's why I'm saying we have to take a better look at that.
But there's a water main already going to the end of the property for 19?
Yes, that one's fine. That one's on progress.
Okay. Okay, so these are going to be on Manzoni, between Manzoni and Progress before Donna Lane.
One's on Manzoni and one's on Progress.
Progress is good. Manzoni, no, but
Oh, okay, I see.
can't say anything.
All right, I get it now.
And if it helps, I'll come in with a full set of plans. I have a set of plans showing these lots all together, where they lie on the lots and the setbacks and whatnot, the whole thing. So I can provide Jen with a full set of plans if that would help everybody clarify.
Okay, yeah. Oh, looking at that, I didn't realize it was that close to Eagle Drive and Circle Drive and all of that. Okay.
At the end of progress. At the end.
Okay, what's the board's pleasure then?
I think it's at
Okay,
Tom, were you here for all this?
Ellis. Exactly. So,
okay, so,
tap in probably.
I guess if we can get those
I get at the end of that.
so that we can review them, I think, the board members will be a little more comfortable with it. I mean, just from looking at a Google map of that area, it doesn't look like it's looks pretty straightforward. But we without can't get a motion or a second to move this forward.
Do they know you're there?
Yeah, I'm waiting to. I don't want to. Hi,
Okay,
guys. On.
what's that?
Just to let you know, I'm online.
Okay, all right. Yeah, if we can get those plans, we can see better what we're doing down there. George, you want to meet with them and
Yep.
and get that going, and we can move forward with that at that point. Okay, Mr. LaBelle?
Yes, that's fine with me. I'll get a full set of plans to George. So we can clarify any questions.
And
you
then,
might have.
what's up with the get the questions about the concerns about the main, the sewer main up in that area, or water main rather, for that
Yep.
second -2 property, so that we can be more informed about what you're asking for us to do up there. Okay?
Okay, that's
All right.
fine with me. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time tonight. And
Okay.
Jen.
Okay, let's see, we bypassed number 5, 71 Mason Road. Revised sewer connection. That, I believe, is George. What happened?
Well,
Okay, George, you muted.
Okay, I don't know how I did that, but okay, hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we wanted to revise this. We found a 6-inch transite sewer main going on the actual property of 71 West Main Street. And what we thought I'm sorry, 71 Mason Road. And we thought the best maneuver there would be to put a manhole off that lateral, have those 3 tie in directly into the manhole, and we maintain access to the manhole. After that, it's all them, all the pipes, the 3 pipes coming down. We thought it was a good plan, so we could also gain accessibility to it. So that's the revision we're making. Instead of making 3 separate lines tying into the AC, which we don't like doing for a number of reasons, we make it plain and simple and easy and also accessible.
George, where's the manhole?
They'd be installing the manhole at the lateral itself, which is in the property line of 71 West Main. That's 71 Mason Road.
They're putting a new one in. Right?
Yes,
So-
they'd be putting that manhole in, tying into the lateral. We'd be maintaining access to that manhole for our purposes. Then they would tie the 3 pipes, which they own, which they'll continually own, into that manhole, and they'll be responsible after the manhole for the 3 lines going up. Similar as if they were 3 separate, they're just going into the manhole, that's all.
Is the manhole on town property?
There is no existing manhole. They'd be making the manhole off the lateral.
Yeah, but is the one they're putting in going to be on town property?
No, it's their property. It's on their property.
Then
We
how
have
can we
easement.
maintain it if it's on their property?
We have easement rights. We'd have easement rights made to that manhole just so we can access it. It's to their benefit anyway to access it in case something goes on. We could see better there than if we had to dig up a leak out in the road or something, if something happened.
How far off the road is that?
10 feet?
Probably 5 feet, 10 feet.
5 to 10 feet, somewhere in there, maybe about 8 feet.
Is that still in the what's considered the right of way of the road?
Oh, they probably went to the property line when they laid the main.
Yeah, they probably went to the property line when they did lay the main there. So it's right at the property line, their property line.
You're just talking about cutting a manhole into the existing main, right?
Into a lateral.
into that lateral, which is about 6-inch AC pipe. Almost 7.
The lateral is the same size as the main.
Yes.
No,
No, what's the main size there? Mason.
8.
Oh, I'm sorry. The Mason Roy is an 8, and that's like a 7.
Who else is talking?
Brian,
Mike's here with me.
Brian, oh, Brian's in the meeting. Okay, I didn't know Brian was in the meeting. Okay. God, I hate Zoom.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yep,
it's probably a better idea, but we still have the bylaw that we would be breaking.
yep. That was the concern I had when George mentioned this to me the other day, and that's why I asked, where would this manhole be? Will it be on town property? Will it be on private property? If it's on private property, then then we're creating yet another exception that is, years down the road, somebody's going to have to deal with.
well, the lateral is already still currently there. So if that, for whatever reason, broke, then it's our responsibility currently. What happens if we make them cut that so the manhole is put onto the street and then we maintain it? Therefore, it's going to fall under the bylaws, but we won't have to tap the main 3 separate times in
Right,
Marina's opinion, which would leave us more susceptible to infiltration.
I can certainly see that point, and I tend to agree with that. The more times you cut into a main in a very small space, the more likely you're going to have that main break, or just it's weakened. Each time you cut into it, it gets weakened a little bit more.
Scott,
Those three laterals for those 3 houses would end up being what, a foot apart?
No,
How
No.
far apart from each other would they end up being if each one was tied in separately?
well, the houses aren't side by side. I mean, they're going
But
to be good.
they'd be coming to the road at one place, so where the common driveway is. So they're going to be coming to the main at one point. How close are they going to end up being to each other to be tied
Depends
in?
on the angle they're coming in from. Should be.
Scott.
Yep.
I called the engineer and they gave me 3 scenarios of basically what to do. You can run 3 separate pipes up there. You have to put TYs in the main. So it'll be 3 connections to the main, okay? And that's very costly. The next one is the manhole that George presented to you. And there's another one. You can put an 8-inch main down that road. It can be privately owned. So they would own it. It will be in their deeds. And it's just like running a sewer main basically anywhere else. I don't care if it's on private property or not. The 3 houses own it. I looked at the houses, the 2 houses in front got cellars. The last lot in the back, if you've got the plan with you, I sent the plans over to the engineer. The black lot is a slab. It is no cellar. It's wet back there. So what I would suggest is we run an 8-inch main, just like we would do anywhere else. It's a little overkill for the 3 houses, but we don't maintain that line. That's private. We have other places in town, off of Dudley Oxford Road, off of Greenwood Ave. We did the same thing. There's 3 to 4 houses tied in there, 8-inch main, tied into our main on Greenwood, and that's the end of it. But that's up to you people.
So we got a couple little scenarios here. I guess you could pick the best one you like and go with that, but we're trying to make it as efficiently as possible, because it's kind of a unique setup there.
It doesn't need to be unique, though. We're, in my eyes, we're bending the bylaw to make it unique.
The property owner is gonna be an easement to maintain the line. That's pure and simple. That's the way it works.
Well, we just don't want to end up like with another private system that we end up owning years down the road.
And 20 years from now, when none of us are, and there's a problem.
That's part of all that's going to be an easement protection, and then that's something the lawyers will draw up, and you can review that. But I mean, you can do what you want. We're just saying, we just don't like tying 3 lines in the transite pipe, and we run a great risk of leaks in the future with transite pipe, as you know, especially in that soil. It's all punky there. That's why the main is having problems on the water side of that area.
The only issue with easements is easements do not carry any weight in a foreclosure. So if there's ever a foreclosure, the bank ends up taking any of that property, and we have no idea of knowing what's going to happen down the road. An easement does not carry any weight. Easements are null and void at that point. Banks don't honor them. They don't have to honor them, and that's the issue with an easement.
Mr. Chairman,
If it's a plain old private pipe, yeah, I don't know how, again, like a homeowners association or something along that line, I can get that, but I have a hard time trying to deal with easements and things like that, because they just carry no weight.
And it foreclosed. Who's responsible for it then? One of the 3 pipes that you got coming down. Who'd be responsible for that?
That came right out of
If there was a foreclosure, what's the difference if today?
town council opinion for the Dudley Oxford Road property. Easements are great, as long as things are good, but once the bank takes that property, then it's the easement becomes null and void.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
if they were to connect all 3 to the main, say in a, 10-foot span, 12-foot span, how close they were going to be, wouldn't they just replace all the pipe in between them with new pipe? So the only connection you would have is the 2 ends would be new connections.
T-wise, that's what you use.
I understand that, but you would be cutting the pipe. Say you cut out a 10-foot section of the main, and they replace it with new pipe and tie in the 3 connections to that.
That's the 3 T-wise, if that's
Yeah,
what they
that's
want.
T-wise, but you're also cutting the AC pipe,
I know,
which turns it into a.
It's up to them what they want to do.
It kind of goes back to what I'm saying about the AC pipe, which I don't want to get too far involved into, but that's what I'm trying to avoid by doing the other plan. I mean, the board can do what they feel, but I'm just on the side of caution because of that area, because of the issues we've been having with that other stuff. So,
is this part of the plan to replace the pipe down the road? That's this part of Mason Road?
that it's in a section of Mason Road where we're replacing the water main. Yes, that's the area that we're replacing the water main. We haven't gone in that area yet. That's part of the plan.
Yeah,
Same
that's
basic
water.
soil,
That's
same setup, same size pipe.
So if you're going to replace the line, yeah. Okay, I understand. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, Tom? It's the sewer isn't going to be touched, but when you touch that AC pipe, you run into trouble all the time, and it's also very brittle in there. I've experienced some sewer lines where we've crossed going into doing water work there, and numerous amounts of breaks on the transite pipe on the water side, which is right in the gutter there on the side of that property. The soil is very wet and punky, and it doesn't take much to break the mains apart on an AC pipe. Just for what we found there. That's why we're changing it out in that area for new water main.
But the sewer pipe, as I was stating, if they cut in 10-foot section, 12-foot section of new pipe and put the 3 connections into that one?
It goes back to the point about cutting into AC pipe in general and the type of issues you run into it. I don't want to get into it right now, but it's a whole different animal right now when AC pipe's involved. It's fine when you don't disturb it, but when you start disturbing it, you run into other issues. And I try to avoid it altogether, just by trying this other plan. It'll make our lives much easier.
Okay, what's the favor of the board?
I don't think pass a headache down the road, personally. It could be a potential headache down the road.
Okay. Shy of a motion or, okay. All right, we've approved it for, 3 connections to water and 3 connections to sewer, and that's what stands unless something else is, voted on. We don't have a motion, so, we'll move on. Okay, do we have anybody from 36 Pine Street?
No, they did not come.
Okay. All right, that brings us to Station 3 update. PFAS.
You guys, I sent you've got my superintendent's report, which has some
Okay.
information there. Also, Station 3 right now, we're working on the well 7 project to put all the inside piping together. We're waiting on some material. Once that comes into play, we'll be putting all the piping and connections together inside the station. We're also got some new flow meters that we had to get to maintain our rigidity for our chemical feed pumps. So those will be put in place on the old piping and on the new piping for well 7 and well 3. So I anticipate that sometime next week. And I'm always on the air of caution because there's always delays with the COVID and stuff, and but that I was in contact with the builder, Dankris, who pretty much has everything they need, and we're just waiting on that. So we're tentatively looking at next week to start that project.
And that should be, we've been saying that was going to go online, should go online second to mid-February, correct?
Yeah, somewhere in the we should still hold true to that. And then after that, we'll be getting our blending process with DEP and the tie-in bond and stuff to get that situation going. So that means the new well will go online, and we'll have the other well as a possible backup upon DEP approval.
Okay,
Hey, Mr. Chairman, it's Jay. Can you hear me?
sure.
I've been having some computer problems here. Plus, I turned in late. I got to this late. Had to go out on a call. But up on that Mason Road there, I kind of agree with the idea of staying off of private property. And I don't see why, from an excavating point of view, you have the 8-inch transite line out in the road. If you were to cut a 20-foot trench, a fern coe on each end, and 8x6 Ys going in 3 different locations for those individual homes, then a series of cleanouts, manhole cleanouts on their property to maintain the lines, everyone would be taken care of. We wouldn't have to step on anybody's property because we always end up going back like George does at 10 o'clock at night on Christmas Eve for something. This way here, new laterals, new Ys, Y and 8 bends going onto the private property, and it's the homeowners homeowners.
So you're doing the same connection points as you would normally, you know?
All right, that's where it is right now. We didn't get any kind of a motion or any kind of a vote to change anything.
I'm just giving you my opinion because I'm having a hard time with the computer, you know?
Okay. Okay, station, all right, thank you, Jay.
You're welcome.
Station three, I know, so we're looking at mid-February to get get pump 7 online, to replace pump 3. And then, that will get the, ball rolling for blending, which will be an ongoing process with, the involvement of DEP, Ty and Bond, our engineering firm, our testing labs, and our own personnel. So that'll be an ongoing process over the next, through the month of February and into March and on. But we should be into the blending process by mid-February. Am I correct, George?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead.
to George, bless you.
Thank you. I got a cold, so it's not cold.
What did DEP say about the new testing numbers?
Do you have them there on your report?
I did see them.
Okay. We're gonna be going over those again. We're gonna be retesting some of that. Some of that lab confirmation needs to be looked at. Many towns are having issues with some of that lab resulting. So I want to do a confirmation study with through Ty and Bond on some of that information still. Some of it looks a little erratic. So before I go jumping into anything definite, I want to do some confirmation and a little research into some of that. But we do have game plans coming down the pike as to where we're going to go in our next move. So I'll keep you guys abreast of all that as we move forward.
Good thinking.
Okay. All right. So I guess without drilling deep into the social media world, I just want to go on the record and say that if folks have a concern or questions or anything like that about the water system, the testing, this PFAS, all of that, I ask you, please do not get your answers from social media. Get them from us. We're not lying to you. We have no reason to lie to you. We're all users of the system ourselves. We've distributed the information that DEP told us, mandated that we distribute. Everything is above board. Everything is out in the open. Please get your information from us. Call us. We'll be glad to talk to you about any of your concerns, and give you the answers that you deserve. That being said, I don't think anything more needs to be said about it. Okay, rate increase. Yeah, there we go. We have been in dealing with this and other issues, and our capital plan to move forward with modernization and improvement of the system, and to deal with treatment and mitigation of PFAS and other chemicals in our water system. We in May of 2020, we had a rate study done. And in that rate study, it gave us a plan out into, out to 2030, actually, for rates based on what our needs, what our system needs are going to be, what our capital improvement needs are going to be for water and for sewer. And with that, each year, we have to consider our rates. Are they meeting our needs? Are we billing enough to pay for our costs? With that, does everyone have a copy of the rate study? No, I do have a paper copy of it in front of me. So each year, it does have a suggestion for a rate increase for this year based on the project that's going on. It's a $6 million project that's going on now. What are folks for fiscal year 22 we're talking about now? We're talking about the recommendation here was with everything staying even, staying level at a recommendation of 18 on water and 15 on sewer. Where are we as far as, I know we've replaced a whole lot of water meters. How has that, I know that has affected our revenues in a great way. I guess, do we have the numbers yet as to how that, will that offset any of the need for an increase?
Scott, it's Brian. In
Yep.
my opinion, no, it won't. It's hard to really see the rate increase because I think we've finally seen the dip in revenue because of the COVID. Currently, last year, we brought in roughly 1.3 million in revenue. We're projected to be right around there right now. That's what our budget is based on per DOR. And per the rate study in fiscal 22, they're projecting us had to have a budget of about 1.6, 1.7 million, which is about where I think we're going to be. You figure in we're going to have about 80,000 a year for PFAS sampling and testing. We'll have another about $130,000 to $200,000 in debt that we're going to have to pay. About just on the 1 year, about from the sanitary survey, we're going to need about 10,000 in capital improvements to do some things. And God forbid, if that the blending doesn't work, the monthly cost, if we have to do a temporary treatment to get everything else down, is roughly about $12,500 a month. So if you look at the projected expenses on the tie-in bond rate survey and suggestions, is they're pretty much on par where we're at. So instead of going down the road where we get to the $7 million treatment plant that we're going to have to build, and we hit somebody with a spike in rates when we get data, when our debt services go to $700 a year, maybe try to ease them into it as we're covering everything as we go. I'm going to project us next year to be about 1.5, 1.6 for our budget.
Okay, well, that's what I was asking for.
Mr. Chairman, can I bring something up?
Sure.
Listen, we paid good money to have Ty and Bond do that professional rate study. And being that they are a professional engineering group, I feel we should adhere to the results of that. And as Brian just mentioned, start easing this program into place, because our costs are only going to go up over the next couple of years. Chemicals, electricity, testing. I'm quite sure once this COVID's over, we're going to be pumping more. The schools will be back in place. So that goes your electric bill, your chemical bill. So being that we paid good money for a tie and bond to do that study, I think we should follow suit with what they recommended us to do.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah,
Um,
that's exactly what, Jay, that's exactly what we are trying to do, is ease everybody into this now.
That's a good way. That's a good way of phrasing it instead of giving some giant sticker shock all at once.
Well, just sticker shock at 2030 when the rates are double too, though.
So like I say, my feeling is I don't have the rate study in front of me, but I think we should institute it.
Well, this year was the harshest year, I think, actually, that happened in general, because we changed the tiers. And on that high tier of the over 4,000 cubic feet, it went up to $5 plus per 100 cubic foot, which hit some people honestly pretty hard, especially the people who wanted to irrigate their lawns or with multifamilies. But that being said, is they've decided that that's how they wanted to water their lawn, and that was what was important to them. And the people with multifamilies have a way to recover some of that money.
That's correct, Brian. A multifamily is a business also. They're in the multifamily business for profit. It's a nonprofit. It's not a nonprofit organization. Put it that way.
So I guess what we need to do then is, do we have a breakdown yet for what the tiers will look like?
I believe it was in the study. My printout
Could be
is
a
a
time
little
bond plan.
bad.
No,
I'll try to find it.
the tiers were set with what was shown on I've got it right in front of me here. It was shown with that 6% from last year, the 3% and 6%. Actually, it was because whether it was with a debt exclusion or without. So it just showed that we just need to see what the numbers will be, what the fiscal FY 2021 2022 numbers will look like with the projected, what they will if they're left alone and what they will be with the projected increases. What we have there is the comparison of 2020 and 2021, which the base charge went from 45 to 47. Tier 1 went from $3.25 to $3.45. Tier 2 went from $4.25 to $5.17, and Tier 3, the big users, went from $5.25 to $10.34. So we just need to see what those
Mr.
tiers
Chairman,
like. Yes.
I can read you what Ty and Bond had for fiscal year 22. If we continue on the same one,
Okay.
the base charge from 47.70 went to 56.29.
Okay.
The greater than 5/8 inch base charge went from 238.50 to 281.43.
That's for tie-in, right?
Yep. Well, that's your
Oh, no, that's for
quarterly,
tie-in for the large pipe. Yeah.
the base. That's the base charge.
Okay.
Tier 1 would go from $3.45 to $4.07.
Okay.
Tier 2 would go from $5.17 to $6.10.
Okay.
Tier 3 would go from $10.34 to $12.20.
Okay.
Then that's with the no debt exclusion, and then we have with the debt exclusion.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a debt exclusion, so those numbers really don't matter.
So you're going with the no. Yep.
Yeah, we don't
So
have.
that's the rate that you'd be following.
Okay.
And then for sewer,
Okay.
the base charge,
Yeah, there we go. Yep. Go
the
ahead.
base charge would go from 81.20 to 93.38.
Okay.
And the charge for usage would go from $3.58 to $4.12.
Okay. And that's per 100 cubic feet?
That is correct.
Mr. Chairman, do we have to have a public hearing for the rates? Or-
Um,
Yes, you do.
I believe we do.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
And if you wanted to have, if you wanted to have a public hearing, you would have to have it for the March 3rd meeting so that they could get out in the April mailing. That were, if you just voted to raise the rates.
Okay. So that would be the March, at the March, March monthly meeting, we could have a public hearing at the beginning. Okay, go ahead.
Brian again. My personal suggestion also would be not to just look at it for this coming year, but possibly look at accepting them for the next 3 or 4 fiscal years, since we're in this long term. That way we're not revisiting every single year, and people know what's coming ahead of them, and they know it's pretty much set in stone. And if we're lucky enough to get a debt exclusion, we can always go backwards. But unfortunately, I think we just need to go forward where we are now.
No, just the rumor of a debt exclusion got people incensed. So that's, I think that's personally, I think that's a debt issue. But yeah, we can certainly talk about it as and evaluate that possibility as time goes on. But I don't see that being anything even close to a
Do we want
possibility.
to, Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Do we want to wait until we have a full board to make a motion on this?
Well, we have to have a public hearing before we can have a before we can vote on it anyways. So that
believe the
public
full board's
hearing-
here.
What's that?
I
Everyone is
believe we
here.
have the full board.
I'm
Full
sorry.
board is here now.
Oh, okay. I didn't see everybody.
Actually, we have lost Mr. Conley.
Oh, we
Oh.
have, yeah. I know some family just came into town from Virginia. He may have fallen off to spend some time with them.
Mr. Chairman, for years, we've been scrutinized by like the Industrial Development Board. All they've talked about that, there's no water for future expansion for commercial or industrial. Well, in the last 2 years, everyone's been working their tail off, drilling, looking for water. So the water and sewer department have done their jobs with the inflow and infiltration on the sewer work, and with the water department drilling for new sources. So we've, you can look at it that we've upheld our part of the bargain to increase customer usage, but now it's at the point where you're going to have to start paying for that. So that's why I think we have no choice but to implement this fee policy.
No, I mean, that's certainly true. DOR will not. I remember a few years back, we tried to anticipate that the electric bill was going to be very high. And we tried to anticipate that and budget for it, anticipating that it would go up. And DOR came back and told us, nope, cut your budget because our revenues didn't support it. So there's very little fluff in our budget, very little. In fact, I'll say there's none. I think we've been doing a good job so far as far as keeping the budgets in line. But yeah, these as a user, I'll tell you, these kind of increases are not an easy pill to swallow.
Well, I know
there's someone sitting right upstairs from me right now that isn't going to like it either. So
I hate to keep relying on the engineers. I know because that costs big money, but once again, I think a phone call to the engineers should give us some guidance on this with everything that's going on, just to confirm our suspicion.
absolutely, we can have them here for the public hearing next month.
Yeah,
that was
good idea.
Okay. So we'll schedule a public hearing for next month. Hopefully we'll be in a position where we can do it somehow in person. I doubt it, but if we have to do a public hearing via Zoom, we'll do it that way. Okay. George's review. I know Monday I turned in, I gave Jen a copy of my review for tabulation purposes. I know Bill turned in a copy. Did anybody else leave a copy in the office?
I didn't get to it.
I know mine should have went through email. Did you get it, Jen?
I received Jay's, yes, thank you.
Okay. And Bob?
I did not drop it off, no.
Okay. All right. So I've never gone through this process before, but I have watched the selectmen do the town administrator in the past. So I think, and this is done in an open meeting. It's not, there's no reason to be an executive session for it. I don't, so basically what I'm going to do is we'll go down the line for each one of the each one of the ratings, and then we can call out what we rated, and Jen Jen, you're going to tabulate that, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Jen will tabulate it for us, and then and give us an aggregate. So and basically the easiest way to aggregate that would be to outstanding would be a 5, thoroughly competent would be a 4, competent would be a 3, needs improvement would be a 2, and unsatisfactory would be a 1. Just for tabulation purposes, so that we can get an idea. We'll just call them out as by the names: outstanding, thoroughly competent, competent, needs improvement, or unsatisfactory, and then she'll tie a number to it. So we'll start with general skills, knowledge of job, and just call out your name before you get, put it out. Give your rating. Scott Zukowski, I rated him thoroughly competent on knowledge of job.
Mr. Chairman, Tom Ponya, I rated the same.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, Bob Sullivan, same.
Yeah, I don't have my copy in front of me. I emailed it, but I was generally competent just across the board on just about everything.
Okay. And you've got bills in front of you. Okay. Communication. Again, I rated it thoroughly competent.
Very much so. Tom.
Same here.
Bob Sullivan, same here.
Okay. Teamwork. I rated it as competent.
Same here, Scott. I think he's very competent.
Same here.
Bob Sullivan, same here.
Okay. Attitude and cooperation. Again, I rated thoroughly competent.
I gave him a 6, Scott.
Yeah, once again, same here. Competent on just about everything, Scott.
Okay. Accuracy and neatness. I rated that thoroughly competent again.
Same here.
Bob Sullivan, same.
Okay, and initiative and problem solving. On that one, I thought long and hard about it, and I went with outstanding, simply because, and we'll go over, we can make comments later on, but just to get the ratings out.
Yeah, I think he's outstanding, Scott. I mean, my opinion, he goes over and above on trying to solve the problems.
Okay. Anybody else?
Number 4, competent, Jay.
Okay,
Yeah, Bob Sullivan, competent.
okay. I see, I don't know how to do the rest of this. Specific duties. I don't know how this one will work. You know, I had 5 specific duties that I rated after looking at his job description. But you know, everybody's going to have different stuff there. I don't know what else to, you know, how else to. We're gonna have to get the copies in so that we can aggregate, put that part of it together.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
One thing I brought up, I know on one of the write-in questions, I'm pleased to see that George is a good team player. He works with the town administrator, the selectman, the town planner, the fire chief, people like that. Anytime something comes up, he's more than willing to go to the selectmen's meeting, go down to the town administrator and talk to him. So he's got to stand in good graces with the other departments. You know, a lot of respect for the water and sewer department now by George's extra effort to deal with the other people.
I think we have a lot more respect with the town than we've ever had.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess on that first question there, significant accomplishments. What I wrote in that was, this is Mr. Petrinos' first year in this job. He has far exceeded expectation in taking initiative to find solutions to longstanding issues, most notably with wells 3-7 and at the Main Street pump station. These facilities were worn or just plain out of service, and he in 1 year has brought them significantly back to full service. Dealing with new DEP regulations for testing, while still dealing with new DEP regulations for testing. He has also, during this time, continued to seek new water sources for future development, identifying one in particular with potential routes for tie into the system. George's knowledge base is outstanding as water treatment and distribution is concerned. He has learned a great deal about the sewer collection system and should continue to develop that knowledge. He knows what he does not know and is not afraid to lean on and learn from his crew members who have that knowledge. That was my comment to that first question.
Nicely written, Scott.
Thank you. Scott?
Go ahead.
I just want to say I appreciate the board's confidence in me and the nice comments.
Let us finish going through this. We have to do this in open meeting. It's kind of I don't like doing it this way, but you know, it is what we have.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Anybody else want to share their comments there?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one more part to yours because you covered a lot of the things that I did, but
okay.
On top of that, it was also dealing with multiple short staff issues. He had multiple people out at different times, either injuries or COVID related or other issues. And to tackle all these projects on top of that, while being short staffed and trying to help out other departments, it just speaks highly to his abilities to multitask and just get jobs done and figure out what needs to be done and get it done.
That, good. Yeah, I didn't even think about COVID. How I forgot that is beyond me, but yeah, the COVID and the short staffing was certainly a big drawback. Okay, please list those areas of the employee's performance which you believe need improvement, either significant or minor. I had two there, but I'll, if anybody else wants to take the lead, or I'll read mine off first. I don't care. All right. The main concern I have for George is delegation. George was a workhorse in his many years in the water department. He needs to delegate many of his former duties and responsibilities to his crew members. Such as operation of heavy equipment, station maintenance, etc. He should only be performing these duties as a fill-in, and it should be the exception and not the rule that he's doing them. And then the other one I had was sewer system knowledge. George's water system knowledge is outstanding. He is making great advances in increasing his knowledge on the sewer collection system. He should continue to lean on and learn from his sewer technicians. That's where I went there. Anyone else?
I think you summed it
I
up.
guess I'll
Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I'll throw in one more thing. Is on the, and it's to no fault of George's. I think that as commissioners, we need to step up a little bit on the existing policies. I think some of the board didn't even realize we had policies, and I think when I went through them a little bit, they didn't really seem to be really legitimate policies. They were just kind of notes written from someone at Nichols based on meeting minutes. So I think we need to, do our part and create the policies to have George have something to work with. So, I know there's some existing ones, and, Tom brings up the one about the laterals going straight into the main. It's just, so I think that part of that would be learning the existing policies and then working with the board to create new policies to promote consistency throughout all the departments.
Again, I couldn't agree more. I think we were on a good line for starting to deal with that, and then all this other stuff hit. We got to get back. Really do need to get back on that.
Scott and Bob, on those policy issues, I know we got a book of policies for both sewer and water, but it seems like every time we turn around, someone's throwing something at us, and that's why it seems over the years you get burnt somewhere, and that's what institutes a new policy so it won't happen again. And I'm quite sure there are many trivial policies, but once again, it comes from the idea of someone's always trying to play hardball with us,
Yeah, we just need to take
I
that.
agree. Yeah, I just think we need to be a little more formal with the policies, get them created so they're an actual
Like I say,
policy. So, I understand how they came about, and that's how rules, regulations all get established.
Yeah.
Somebody does something that creates a problem, then you create a regulation or a rule to try to stop that from happening in the future. So I just think that, George can have a great amount of knowledge to add to creating these policies, and then we can make it so it's kind of consistently applied
we-
across the board.
We do need to codify and formalize a lot of that. And I think that's that not only a goal for George, but a goal for us over the next year, to get that, finally get that done.
Correct.
That next question, please
Oh,
provide.
I got
Go ahead. Somebody have something, or was that a sneeze? God, I hate.
No, I was just saying that's all I had.
Okay. Please provide a plan for the personal and professional development of the employee during the next review period. Please include specific improvements, performance standards, and expectations. I had two things. I added to the copy that was with Jen that I left in the office. This is my, I've got the draft in front of me. My goal, I think I had two. I might have had three. I can't remember. But delegate the stuff off that you need to delegate to get it done. And then the other one was to continue to seek out and attend professional development courses as they become available from people like Mass Waterworks and other organizations like that. They have those courses on a regular basis. I know you go to them already. Continue to do that and continue to improve yourself with all of that sort of thing. Anyone else? I think that's all I had in that space. I can't remember. But if there was anything else, it was along that same line. Oh, and bring us up. Go ahead.
I just wanted to point out, I think your delegation part can be a little deceiving. I understand what you're saying, but part of delegation is also identifying who does the job best. I know there's certain things that some people may think George should be doing that Brian's doing, but I think George has identified that Brian is better suited for some of those tasks.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think George does. I think George does do a good deal of delegating in the proper manner. And there's always room for improvement, but I think more of the issue for me would be that he needs to work towards getting a full staff so that he can actually delegate some of the other duties that you're pointing out, like equipment operator, stuff like that. He can delegate it to the people that need to do it. But I think the issue there is more, he needs the proper staff in order to delegate the task correctly.
The third thing that I had
again,
added,
not a fault of George's.
Go ahead.
Yes. So I said not really a George issue, as opposed to, we need to get a full staff that he can figure out who's best suited for which positions to
Mr.
delegate
Chairman,
which
sorry,
tasks to.
I gotta step away a second.
Sure. I knew there was a third thing that I had written in there, and it was about it had to do with exactly that. Getting finishing the job reclassifications and getting all the positions filled. That is still that is an ongoing thing, and that's again not really his fault. It is what it is.
I think George has done as much as he can at this point. It's being held up by somebody else.
Right. But it's just for making himself and the department better. So,
Yep.
Anyone else? Okay, and then overall evaluation. I think I evaluated him as competent at this point.
Yeah, myself too, Mr. Chairman, total evaluation, totally competent.
Okay.
And I guess I went through and did a kind of a average of all the numbers that we put together and it came out to thoroughly competent.
Yes, I would assume that that's where he falls somewhere in that range. Now, we do need to get copies of these into the office so that they can be aggregated, all put together and put into whatever file he filed, so that they're kept to keep it for record keeping. And then when salaries and contracts start being renegotiated. So George has a solid knowledge of his job responsibility. He's proactive and very conscious of timeliness and completeness of tasks. And that's just needs to. Yeah, that's. That's what we had. George, did you have any comments or any concerns with anything that was said?
No, I really appreciate the board's confidence in me and their their nice remarks. I just want to say that I'm very thankful. I have a great staff. I don't want anybody to get to anybody's guys' heads, but they do an awesome job for what they have to work with, and they do whatever work I ask them to do, no matter how far out or how much it involves. And without them, we wouldn't be halfway near where we are now with how we're going. And I just hope everything continues on the same pace, and we'll all keep working to keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully we can get through all these murky waters and get some good results in the next year and the year to come. And if I could just say 2 comments for the end of the meeting, I'd appreciate that. That's all.
Okay. And then, okay, if nobody else has any comments, then superintendent's report. I know it was sent out. Pull it up. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to put it together at the last minute with the information coming in. I just want the board to review it. If they have any questions on it, I can elaborate certain parts. The one thing I wanted to go over was the job classifications that you were mentioning. They're still, as I see it, at a stalemate. I don't know if it's just slow process or whatever. I've been told by the town administrator and union rep that we're very close, or they got something in place but needed some refinements. But I haven't heard anything yet. And our deadlines are getting up there where I got to put a man on very soon to start learning and what have you. So I don't know at this point what to say. Maybe if we can wait till March, give another couple weeks and see where we go. But at that point, we're going to be pushing into the springtime, and it's going to get more difficult as we go with the amount of work coming down the pike. My goal right now is to do some upgrades and system and infrastructure repairs. We're kind of lacking in normal maintenance around our distribution system due to the lack of manpower and the issues with the PFAS and stuff. So as you read further down, I've got some things I want to put on the Springtown meeting to upgrade some equipment and be ready for the next coming fiscal year, where we can be all set with some more manpower, some better equipment to handle these challenges coming up, because there's going to be a lot of work ahead of us for both our distribution system and for the upcoming stations and the PFAS, what have you. I kind of want to be ready for it, and I don't need to have any issues or problems come up. And I believe kicking the cans down the road, like they always say, is the worst thing to do. So I'm trying to put us in a good spot to have everything ready, to have all arms to bear to go after all this issues that we need to face coming up in the next year and the year to come.
Okay, I did read through it quickly. Okay. Before we get to board comments, there was one other thing that came up. And I
Chairman?
know it came up a couple of weeks ago. Go ahead.
I apologize. Can we just back up to George's review for a moment?
Sure.
George's review was for his yearly review, which was to be done back in November, and we were running late on that.
Right.
What I was gonna ask.
Is there, so at his yearly review, normally there would have been a review and then a discussion of if there was a pay increase accordingly and things like that.
I was gonna
Okay.
ask that because I believe everybody else in town already got their pay raises back like November or whatever it was.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
That was kind of my comment for the end of the meeting. I just was asking the board to look at a stepped increase for me. I don't like throwing numbers out. I just wanted to put myself to where I thought I should be right now, along with other department heads that came in. I mean, I could mention it, or I could just, hold off a little bit as far as mentioning it. But I do ask to see if I could put myself where I think I need to be, and see if the board can look at that for me.
Okay. And again, this is not something that I've done before. So I don't know why we haven't ever seemed to really do this. But to deal with okay, rate increase. Yeah, can we?
Mr. Chairman, through you.
Go ahead.
Jen, do we have a table of steps or rates or any of that?
No, they're in the process of establishing one, but there has not been one established at this time. Bless you.
Okay. Yeah, without having any numbers or anything in front of me now, it's hard to.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
do we know what the other department heads got in November?
I do not know. Do you know, Jen?
I do. I'm going to send you some information in just 1 second.
Okay.
So I got one more question now.
Sure.
Was there a COLA involved? Did all the town employees get a COLA raise? Because I look at it as a two-step process. There's a COLA raise, which is the cost of living.
Right.
It's pretty much across the board. I'm not sure if the selectmen vote on it or how that works. And then there's a merit increase. So there would be a cost of living increase and then a merit, which I believe George is requesting as a step. So those are the two things that we need to consider is if there was a cost of living increase. I mean, I think George is entitled to that irregardless of what this was. But there would also be a merit-based step increase, in my opinion. I just don't know what the scales are.
This is Brian. The last increase was technically a COLA. Pretty much every year, anything that happens at the beginning of the year is a COLA, even if they have to retro it from November due to budgets and whatnot. I just have that knowledge from when I was a town hall employee. That said, looking at the budget, all other employees did get a COLA. They left George out of it until this point. And that happened in July. It was based on.
We're back in July.
Yes. And then they waited and they funded it in the October town meeting, I believe. I wasn't there to be sure, but yeah, everybody's been paid their COLA increase since July 2020.
That is correct.
Oh,
Why did
okay.
you leave George?
So I don't understand why George would be left out of that. I mean, he is a
He's
town
on-
employee irregardless. Like I said, the COLA should, in my opinion, automatically be applied, and this meeting with a review should impact a merit increase, regardless of the COLA increase.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I almost think at this point in time, it's something that we'll have to table for tonight. And it would be nice when we could actually meet in person at the town hall and get all our homework and research done to see where we stand.
Yeah, I don't know how, being able to meet in person is still not possible. Not in the town hall.
I don't think it's fair to George to make him wait.
Oh, I agree completely.
It's just kind of tough to decide without a pay scale in front of us.
Yeah, so we have to do our research.
Brian, do you have any idea of what the COLA increase was percentage wise?
I believe it was 2%.
2%?
Yes.
That sounds about right.
Also from just my general knowledge, really nothing to do with any departments, whatever else. From my understanding is beforehand, before Mr. Ruda took over as administrator, the selectmen tried to, or always did, affect everybody's pay, even if it wasn't under their purview, where you guys have control of the budget here. This year, they kind of left it alone, which leaves George and Jen both open or vulnerable, which is kind of a weird position of what they did. I am still, fortunately enough and unfortunately enough, under the union contract, but they kind of just left him hanging, and that's where he stands right now.
Yeah, I don't,
Jen,
okay, well, go ahead.
to Jen, can you get us a pay scale? I mean, how quick can it? It doesn't seem fair to keep George waiting.
No, I agree.
I don't think there's one established.
Thank
There
you. I
isn't
was
one-
just going to say there
isn't
is
one
no
established.
pay scale. I can just give you ideas of what I can give you what other department heads similar to him are currently making, to give you an idea of where he is in relation to others.
I think that would help.
It would help, but I think that irregardless of other positions, I can't see that there's another department head that has the liability and or responsibility of George's position.
Right.
Sure.
I was just going to give you rough ideas so that you could see what people with less or, or a higher up were making.
Correct.
Okay, in any case, if a COLA was given back in July, and I can't understand how any position got left out, if they were going to leave out the water sewer superintendent because he's part of the enterprise, that's fine, but they should have let us, I would have hoped they would have let us know so that we could make that adjustment ourselves. So at a minimum tonight, I think we can reasonably meet the COLA, meet that same COLA increase.
So if it was a 2% COLA, I would say that we need to move on the 2% COLA, and I would assume that should probably be retroactive.
Yes.
Definitely, if we can get it through. That means cutting him a separate check for back pay.
Correct. We just need to know if there's enough money in the budget salary wise.
We have it. We have a full position that wasn't funded that is sitting there.
So you haven't.
It
You have an
was
unfilled
funded, it
position
wasn't
that I believe
filled.
was funded. Yeah,
It was
it
funded,
was
but it
funded,
wasn't.
but correct.
Mr. Chairman, through you, could I ask Brian a question? Brian,
Go ahead.
will they cut him a separate check? Or will they want to roll it all into one?
Per new regulations, because we went through this with the union stuff, trying to get our some of our stuff into separate checks. when you cut a check, it all has to go into one check now. You can't do separate. So unfortunately, it will all go into one check. And you won't see some of those taxes back until the very end.
Thank you.
And also rough numbers, because I'll advocate for actually both of them because they're both being too kind right now. If you give George a 2% increase, he is still paid less than the new highway superintendent.
Okay, yeah. We don't, yeah, I don't want to get into comparing. You know, they're different positions.
I think they're apples and oranges.
And whether we like it or not, or agree or not, they're two separate positions. But a COLA should have been given, and I wish somebody had. I wish I had known about it. I wish I'd been paying more attention, I guess.
Brian, you said that was, Brian?
Go ahead.
You said that the rest of the town got it in July?
It got applied in October, but it was retroed until the first paycheck in July.
Oh, that, okay, yeah.
But I believe they were pretty forthcoming to people that that's what was going to happen. It's just that they had to wait until the October meeting in order to be able to do it for them. So I believe that they knew it was coming though. It wasn't a surprise or a windfall.
Mr. Chairman, you would like a motion?
Sure.
Make a motion that we give George a 2% COLA raise retroactive to last July.
Okay,
Sullivan, second.
Okay, we've got a motion for to award a 2% cost of living increase to our superintendent, retroactive to the in July. Any further discussion? Okay, it's got to be a roll call vote.
Tom Funya, aye. Sorry, Scott.
Bob Sullivan, aye.
Jace Fall, aye.
Scott Sikowski, aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And, okay, we'll get that straightened out. But what are we going to do about any potential pay increase? I'd like to, I hate to put it off for another month. All right, I think that's what we're gonna. Can we get some more information and bring this up for consideration at our next meeting? Is anybody? I hate to do it that way, but
Well, I don't think we can decide without some kind of scale
Yeah,
in front of us.
we need to figure out, get some information. I have to make some phone calls and get some information.
So I can tell you, at this time, the town of Dudley does not have a scale, a step increase, or anything of that nature.
Okay, yeah, I know that, but we got to find out yeah.
Also looking at that real quick, they did not have the water sewer superintendent included in that either.
In what?
The pay scale.
Oh yeah, they had that pay study.
They only had Jen in it and they had it completely wrong. And
Oh,
so
It was sad.
George
I
sent
think
over
it was a
letter.
bogus study.
I have heard about that study. I never did see the final. What did they come up with a result out of that?
The gentleman is presenting the characteristic part of the pay study at Monday night selectmen's meeting. And then personnel has to accept the pay scale, that second part of it. And then once they accept that, then they'll present that at the selectmen's meeting. So in answer, no, it has not been finally accepted.
Okay.
But regardless, the superintendent's position was left out of that anyway?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so we still need to establish that. Now, did I also hear correctly that Jen was left out as well?
No, they had her originally equivalent to a library aide.
No, I
until
mean
we-
for the COLA or the raises.
No, Jen got her COLA raise, correct, Jen?
Yes, I got a Kohler. That's it. Yep.
Okay.
So we have to do, actually, was your performance appraisal done in November? That would have been done by George, correct?
We have not received notification to do any yet.
Oh, you haven't. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, for our,
That should be about due.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
not, I know it's apples and oranges, but can we get the scale of the superintendents in town and then get some kind of other towns' water sewer superintendents' salaries? Of similar size?
We should be able to get that from Mass Waterworks, can't we? Don't they have that? Is that the organization that has that?
They have job postings, but the difficult part is we may have similar population, but we could have different treatments, different sources, different problems.
Right.
It's those are very hard to compare. You know, I know from just having to try to do the union negotiations with our jobs and whatnot, it becomes difficult at certain points. You have to really put the value of the person here into what we have. That's the only way we've done it with the union.
It is a very difficult thing to do. I mean, I can tell you, I've looked at a few positions recently, and the town of Lincoln's hiring right now, starting at 130,000 for the superintendent, and that's water only.
Don't tell George that.
I know. I'm just throwing it out. I'm sure George is already aware of it, as we all
See
are.
ya.
But my opinion is, if you got a good employee, you got to treat them right and
Absolutely.
pay them what they're worth.
But yeah, we just need to figure out what the if he's making what he should be making, and if he's not, then he should be, should we should it be what by about what amount should we increase it by?
Yeah, I mean, I could, like Brian said, I can tell you it's a difficult thing to try to compare other systems. I mean, because none of them are the same. I mean, I can tell you that my system is smaller in population. I mean, I have a wastewater treatment plant, not just a collection system, but I have water and sewer, and like I said, in addition to that, I have the treatment plant. But I mean, mine's public record, so I mean, I'm at 95. So just to give you a kind of a baseline, and I got a small system and fairly simplistic. Lincoln, like I said, it's water only, 130. There's systems all over the place. I mean, there was one heading out a little more towards Boston that for an operator, not even, this is lower level than Brian, and they're at 105.
Don't tell Brian that.
Where was that?
See ya.
The commute sucks.
Yeah.
And also, I'm pretty sure that board doesn't have a cat for a chairman.
Yeah. But like I said, it's a hard thing to try to compare to other towns. It's all over the place.
Okay.
But that's where your knowledge, Bob, would come in handy.
Right. And I mean, like I said originally, when we put George in the position, I mean, I pushed for a higher number than we were originally looking at, because I knew it was, you were still underpaying him.
Yeah.
And I mean, people don't understand. I mean, you see it a little more now after going through the PFAS issue and having DEP on the line, and just what comes out of something. And the PFAS is such a minute number, And it's really a small part of the regulations and the other things that could go wrong. And I mean, George is in charge of this liability for the town. And, you know, I know, I don't like to compare to other department heads, but, you know, people say, oh, well, the highway superintendent gets more or this or that. But I mean, the highway superintendent doesn't do his job. Somebody hits a pothole, they get a flat tire, or, you know, a broken A-arm, whatever. But George doesn't do his job. He poisons half the town and, you know, can kill half the population of Dudley. I mean, look at something like Spencer. Spencer had an issue, I don't even know how many years ago it was now, probably 15 years ago or so. You know, one guy in the water department wasn't paying attention, plugged in a chemical pump, doing maintenance on it, left it plugged into a plug that it wasn't supposed to be plugged into, and they burned 189 people in town. You know, they had ambulances all over the place, you know, saturated the hospital because one guy did one thing wrong in the water department. So, I mean, and, you know, there's other cases in town. I mean, I can tell you Milford, you know, the manager at Milford Water, you know, he got indicted on charges because he falsified sample results. You know, it's just the liability is huge for his position. It's far more than any of the other positions that I see in town.
Okay, I'm just trying to pull up a calculator here. Okay, yeah, I don't know, what would we look at? Like a 3%, 4%, 5%, 10%? You know, I'm just being facetious there. George is good, but he's not that good. Well, maybe he is. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this is outside my my knowledge base. What is a normal rate increase at this day and age? I don't get normal raises at work. We see them every 2 or 3 years. But it should be, I mean, he's been there a year now. When did you start in the position, George?
I started as interim in somewhere around September of 2018. And then there was a little delay in making me full superintendent, but it started there as superintendent or interim superintendent.
Okay, 18. Yep.
When did we move you into the full-time superintendent position? A little over a year ago?
November,
Yeah.
November 2019.
Okay.
Yep. I know it was just over a year.
Yeah.
I didn't know exactly when it was.
Well, that makes sense. That's why we were supposed to do the review in November.
Right. What, anybody, does anybody have a thought on what, you know, in my thinking, I'm thinking, yeah, I would think somewhere in the 3 to 5% range
Mr.
is,
Chairman,
go ahead.
I also think he deserves a raise. I just caution that whatever we come up to, we have to justify it to, I don't want to say higher ups, but other people.
Yeah, you're right. We're trying to force it here. It does need to be done, and it is overdue.
We have to come up with we can't just say, we think he needs, should get a 5 or 10. We have to have some justification behind it.
Right.
Brian here, just so you guys have some numbers, what you're working with. Currently, with the 2% that you just gave him for the COLA, he'll be at 88,230. Also, if you do give anything over and above that, be specific if you're doing it on top of that 2% or in combination with, just for numbers wise later on. But currently, right now, with the last vote you just had, he is now at $88,230. If that helps anybody with their decisions. Or my other suggestion is you could table it and say whatever your decision is retroactive until today.
Mr. Chairman,
It's true. Okay,
I'm glad we're having a discussion, but I kind of feel it should be tabled because I also feel if we were out to go out and do this on our own, by the time that payroll slip went through either the accounting office or the treasurer's office, I feel it could be rejected without having proof and getting approval from wherever. So I'd hate to do that and find out, because we've had things of that nature happen before, where it gets rejected through either the accountant or the treasurer's office. Because we just can't arbitrarily go out there and start paying people or, doing what we want to do.
yeah, you're right. That's why we're discussing. I just, okay. So we'll table it then until next month, and give it some, and we can, I'll confer with the powers that be, and it is our decision, but to be sure that we're within town guidelines, and to see if we can get some comparisons. I know, well, see if we can get some kind of a basis to justify our actions.
Are you okay with that, George?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Well, we did get the COLA straightened out, so go ahead.
So I would caution you, Scott, that when you start asking the questions, that you get verification and proof of how they're coming up with their comments as to whether you can or cannot do something.
Yes.
From what I see, if Jen's correct, that there's no established pay scale and there's no established step increases, then for them to say that we can't make a certain decision is an arbitrary decision that they're making based on they don't want to see raises go at a certain rate.
Right.
But I agree, it does need to be researched to make sure there is nothing in the personnel bylaws or whatever it is that we go by, that there's nothing written in there that there is levels.
I also think being good neighbors that we let, I don't want to say higher ups again, but other people know that of our intentions.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, there was one other, it's not on the agenda, but it was, I did have Jen resend me an email that was sent out. It was just sent out today. Where is it? There it is. I know a couple of weeks ago, one of us sent out just a general email suggesting that we create emails that can be strictly for water sewer, for protection of records requests, and to protect ourselves. And that one person said that he had created a water sewer only email address. Of course, the next day in the town hall, I found out that the town has, in updating all of their computers, as as part of Office 365, they have been able to create email addresses for, I know everybody on the planning board has one now, and all of the boards that are under the Board of Selectmen are working towards getting them. I've got the rates for that. basically, the one email address, which went from water sewer to sewer water, at dudleyma.gov, includes, each one of these also includes, archiving and, backup and that sort of thing. So anything that is done, in the name of the Water and Sewer Commission by any one of us is archived, for however long the law requires. And that includes even after we're out of office. So we are already doing it for the office email, which comes to an annual cost of $371.90. That includes the email and office products, the use of all the licensing to use the office products, Microsoft Office. That includes archiving, backup, data, whatever that is, and spam filtering.
No,
We have to purchase one of those for the office, and then for email, exchange online archiving, backup, data, and spam filtering. The total cost for an individual email account is $263.96. So just in doing some crunching, it was just my thought. We absolutely have to do it for the office. We should be providing it for the superintendent and the primary plant operator, primary operator for the water system. And then the thought was one for each of 5 commissioners. Now, as a commissioner leaves, his stuff would be archived, his or her stuff would be archived, and then the next commissioner would then inherit that. The total cost then was somewhere around $2,400 a year for budget. Yeah, those were the numbers that's what was presented by Deb Thibodeau, the town accountant, who is also MIS director. To me, it seems like a no-brainer. I guess the question then arises, do we have it in the budget to be able to set it up now? Do we need to wait until, what are your thoughts?
Scott, question?
Sure.
Now, if 90% of, I don't know about your stuff, if I'm talking to Jen, it'd be go to the office, and wouldn't it go through that system anyways?
If I can shed a little, this is Brian, if I can shed a little bit light on it. So Tom, you use your personal email to communicate to Jen for the water sewer. So if there's a problem and somebody decides that they're going to fight how we're doing a connection, they could subpoena your email. And by subpoena your email, they mean all 65,000 that are on your account. The idea behind this is everything's separate and it's archived. So your email as a commissioner would be archived. So if you ever left town or never communicated again with the town of Dudley, they would still have that correspondence. And also, if George as superintendent, if and when he does retire, it would get that superintendent email would be passed on to the next person, and the primary would be passed on to the next person who takes it. So you have all the existing information, and it's right there for the town to access or anybody to do a records information search. My numbers were, we needed one for Jen, the more costly one, one for George, the more costly the one, so we can finally maybe put a workstation at the shop. So I don't always have to go in and bug Jen. I can just look at things right from there, or she can say, hey, can you go look at this without me having to come into the office? And also the sewer one, since there's a computer there and Mike can see his SCADA systems, for lack of a better word, and sometimes he has to ask for quotes and whatnot, he would have one. And then you'd have the 5 commissioners who would have the lower priced one, and the primary operator would be a lower priced one too. So that's what 250 and 350 are the different numbers roughly, Scott?
Yeah, I think that's,
But that's the information I got from Debbie, having just a logistical idea of why they were doing certain things. And my impression, this was a kind ask of, this is probably going to happen no matter what. Because supposedly this is kind of like us with having certain operators in positions. The state is really looking for this to be in place versus somebody making their own Yahoo account, apparently, from my understanding and what I was told.
Hey, Brian, so this would prevent a giant invasion of privacy to everyone by going along with the town policy, right? Because right now we're using our own personal apparatus, and that would be exposed if anything, God forbid, anything ever happened. Everything we've sent back and forth to friends or family or whatever would be out in the public, correct?
Correct. And it still would be to this point until, Jay, say you left the board and your son came on and he took it on, and he would have a separate email account. Therefore, it would never go after his personal email. But
Well-
still, at this point, even if we went over to the new system, everybody who's currently here and who has currently used any of their private emails for correspondence would still be exposed to a record search.
Well, from what you're telling me, I think it sounds pretty important that we should start looking into this for everyone's protection.
That's why I recommended everyone starting a separate email.
Yeah.
It's still, I mean, the separate email is the cheapest and easiest way to do it. However, that doesn't provide any kind of archiving, and it really doesn't insulate. Because, I mean, there are ways to get through your personal email stuff, but so it'd be somewhere shy of $3,000 a year in the budget. In a $1.3, $1.4 million budget, actually with the water and sewer combined, with a $2+ million budget, $3,000 is really not that much.
Well, that would be split
Well, yeah,
both ways. Scott, that would be split both ways then, and when you consider it, 1,500 out of sewer, 1,500 out of water. So one department's not enough the whole load.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it would be, it would have to be cost shared between the two enterprises. But
we got to consider, Scott, I agree that 3,000 isn't a lot compared to the budget, but it's not the only thing we're adding to the budget.
No, it's not.
I mean, we're looking, I don't know if you want to say it, but the rate study, we're looking at almost doubling the rates by the year 2030.
Yep. Well, I wanted to get it out. I wanted to get the email thing out there for folks to consider. In any case, we're going to have to, at some point, I firmly believe that at some point it's going to end up being mandated anyways. It is, I wanted to make sure it got out there so that everybody was aware that possibility is available, and that we should be doing something about doing that. At a minimum, we should be taking care of the full-time employees. It's their stuff, but I firmly believe that the all elected and paid personnel in the town of Dudley are going to, at one point or another, end up being required to have something along this line.
I'm not saying I'm against it, Scott. We can be cognizant of the budget.
I know that's why I wanted to put it out there to see what we do need to see what you, we've spent a boatload of money this year already, and we need to make sure that our budget is solid for the rest of the year. So whether it's now or in a month or, after the next town meeting or whatever, at some point, we're going to need to address this. So I just wanted to get the information out there so folks are aware of it. Okay. Public board comments. Well, there is no public, so board comments. George, did you have anything else?
Yeah, I just wanted to make an announcement to everyone. Mike's daughter, Megan, just got a free ride to the on the Patriots plane, Bob Kraft's plane, to the Super Bowl. She was picked out of 58 healthcare workers to make that trip. Unfortunately, Mike wasn't invited to go, so she's on her own, but it's quite an accomplishment, being one out of 58, I think it was, to be picked to go. So congratulate Mike and Megan on that venture. Hope she has a good time.
Wow.
Cool. Okay, Jen? Okay, Bob?
No, I'm good.
Is Bill back with us or no?
Yep, I'm back.
Okay, did you have anything to add or any comments?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, Jay?
I just want to bring one thing up for Jen. Hey, Jen, going back to the January 21st meeting with the DEP, I was present. I was online, but I didn't see my name on the minutes.
I apologize. I did have you down. I must have just skipped over you.
Just for the record that I was here
Absolutely.
when the girls were talking about everything,
Yeah,
That's all.
Okay, you
I
feeling left out?
apologize.
No, I just so it's on record that
Yeah.
I was there, because I know we are audited. Our minutes and everything are audited by the town auditors.
My apologies. I will correct it, and the
Sure.
corrected will be posted
Yeah,
online.
this way here we'll be in compliance.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay,
I'm good, Scott.
Tom? Yep,
I'm good.
and I am good as well.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9 o'clock.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Bob Sullivan,
Tom
aye.
Pointer, aye.
Jay Spall, aye.
Bill Conley, aye.
Scott Sikowski, aye.
Tom Pointer, aye.
Okay,
Tom, yep, you got me?
have a good night.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
night,
Scott.
guys.
Good
You
night.
too. Thank
Have a
you.
good one.
Good night, everybody. And where'd Scott's cat go? That thing's hilarious sitting in the background.
That's not in here.